in my mind, see a border between responsibility and duty versus happiness and joy. Now, you separated joy from happiness, and I sort of hadn't looked at it that way before. But do you see a border between responsibility and duty, and happiness and joy?
What is your hypothesis there? That if you want happiness or if you want joy, then there's a contradiction to duty and responsibility?
Somewhat, yes. For example, I enjoy most of the things I do. I enjoy this podcast, but I also see it as my duty, mainly because I don't like how my arguments are at the moment, and I'm trying to sort of tune my arguments to the sound of other people's arguments, so that I can be closest to the truth. Also, sharing with the world, I enjoy that. But then there are things that I don't necessarily enjoy, but I have to do, the chores of life. And I like to take on a lot of those. And I like to do it as thoroughly as I possibly can, even if it comes at the cost of me taking one day off during the weekend that I really need to, or to going to a party or whatever it is, basically. And I don't know what to do there.
Look, I don't really see a contradiction there. I will try to explain why. As an aspect of the question is, how do I approach everything I do in life, and how consciously I do everything I do in life. And consciously means if I know it is necessary for my life to flourish, to be the best possible one I have, then I can have a relationship to it, and I can say, okay, I'm going to do it. Let's take potential activities which, let's say, might contradict joy or happiness. Let it be cleaning the dishes, let it be ironing, let it be, all this daily stuff. But I understand why I do it and why it's necessary. And I know, especially when you live in a like social setting called family, that waiting for others to do it will not really bring results. So I do it. The question is, with what mindset do I do it? Is it something I have to do? Or is it something where we had this topic, I can create for myself a narrative which allows me to do this with any amount of joy, at least being neutral about it. Ironing clothes, like cleaning dishes, and by the way, I'm still from a generation when there was no dishwashers. Like you had a big party or you had friends at home, the evening ended with like 2 hours of cleaning everything by hand, and then taking a cloth and wiping it all dry. So, and I'm reminded of this, and I remind myself every time when I put in things in the dishwasher and when I take them out, because I realize how lucky I am. So and those processes can become highly meditative processes, because actually I'm given an activity which I know I need to do, which is very easy to do, and it's my choice to put a judgment there or to make it a meditative process. But it's a choice. It doesn't come naturally. There is no formula which says cleaning the dishes equals bad. This is a perception you might have, but this is a perception you created, so you can also change it. And if you start to approach things, we had this. We briefly shared this with the Shaolin philosophy, putting love into things you do. This is a conscious process. You put love into something, as small as it is. as 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 so small or profound it can be. It can be any walk, it can be cleaning the dishes, it can be brushing teeth, it can be anything. But the question, what would putting love into this mean, is a very good question. And once you have an answer, you know, okay, this is how this small process can become at least an interesting, perhaps not the most profound, although also this is possible, but an interesting experience. And even if you do it repetitively, I have this with some of my coaching clients who say, look, it's like so difficult, and I go around because of lockdown, I can hardly go out, so I just take a walk out, and I just can't see this anymore. It's always the same, 50 meters I walk. And I tell them, look, I do the same. But what I tell myself is every time I go out, I want to see something I haven't seen before. The same way I go. I want to see something I haven't seen before. And Roham, you cannot imagine how blind I am. Because every time I go, it doesn't even take 20 seconds, I discover something, I say, was this here before? And then I reflect a bit, I say, yeah, it was there before, I never saw it. Let it be a leaf, let it be anything. So what I'm trying to say is, how you approach the simplest of life situations and make them valuable is completely in your hand. But the underlying notion is something which unfortunately we are not told when we grow up. The underlying notion is, David Brooks puts this very nicely. We as human beings are by nature unfinished business. We are always unfinished business because of these unique abilities we have. And there's very few great creatures where you can say this about. Human beings for sure are by nature unfinished business. What this means is also, it means a lot of things, but what this means is also that nothing which requires your involvement can ever be automized. There's never a button and you press it and it just goes like this and you can be somewhere absent. So even the most boring of tasks is part of this, we are unfinished business. I cleaned the dishes yesterday, I have to do this tomorrow again, and day after, and day after, and day after, and day after. There is an involvement I have. So the choice is, how do I deal with this involvement? How do I make this as close to life as possible, meaning as explorative as possible? If it's true that we are by nature unfinished business, then everything we do is just exploration. It's never finite. By the way, one of the big issues, if you look at schools, universities, companies, the big problem is the notion that we want humans who are finished business. And you, Roham, looking at the finished business I wanted to see from you as a teacher, as a professor, and what I have seen, what you've done, you're only 70% finished. That's wrong. You are never finished. You are by nature unfinished. The only thing I can do is to say, where do I put a little bit of more focus and intensity to work on this unfinished part? But never to expect that it's finished. And this is the finiteness or the illusion of finiteness of life, which is created through all educational institutions. I got this grade in this year in school, oh my God, I'm bad. I'm this, oh, I'm super great. I did not manage this, oh, I'm bad. If you understand your unfinished business, it is just one step for many, many steps to come. And this one step tells you, how can I take the next step in a little bit different way? That it'll make me experience life more and joy more. It's a completely different mindset. And when we come to responsibility and duty, that is, I've been especially talking about these basic things, which one might not like, but how I relate to those activities, which I know they are needed, decides a lot. So responsibility in the first sense means it's a responsibility to myself. And a duty I have to myself. And there I don't see a contradiction that duty and responsibility contradict with joy. What is true though, this I don't argue with, that as they say in one of the old Indian scripts, it says that many things which taste in the beginning like nectar, they turn out to become actually hell. And many things which look like hell to you in the beginning, they become later nectar. That is part of life. That's exploration. Nectar meaning when you put in a lot of effort and you do it and you do it and you do it, and later you see how slowly something is working, whether you're learning to play soccer, whether you're doing skateboarding, whether it's anything in life, learning a musical instrument. In the beginning, it's sometimes it feels like hell.
Yes.
But you should know that one aspect of life is, and by the way, we all did this when we were small. Mm-hmm. How did you learn to walk?
Just failed and tried again.
And tried again. And again, and again, and again, and again. I mean, that you as a parent cannot watch anymore and say, my goodness, when will this stop? And again, guy stands up, falls down, or girl stands up, falls down. This approach to life, to understand that many things which we truly want to achieve will require that every day I do something which will bring me somewhere. But I only see this portion. Like I like the saying from Muhammad Ali. When I grew up and I went to the gym every day, I realized I either have a good time now, but will never become a champion, or I work hard every day, and when I'm champion, I've achieved what I wanted. That's my choice. And I decided to do the second. To go every day to the gym and work out and do my boxing exercise, because I knew there's something I want to get there. And I knew it'll take many, 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 many small steps. So everything which is instant gratification has very little value. Mm-hmm. So anything you do which gives you immediate happiness, over time, you yourself will get bored with it. Because there's really nothing much into it. Many things which are really, really powerful and make a difference in your life, they require this, one slice, next slice, next slice, next slice. And again, how are you moving away from these chores? How do you approach this every day? Is your choice. If you're doing anything, if you're a runner, if you're a soccer player, if you're a student, how you approach every day going to the lesson, running, the exercise, that's your choice. You can call it joy, you can call it duty. How do you make it an experience that it's joy? That is actually the interesting and fascinating question. You know it needs to be done. How can you enjoy this? And make this an experience that you say, amazing, I didn't even realize what I was doing, but it was such a nice experience of doing it.